Hello, dear friends.
Soccer Academy Amsterdam welcomes you from the capital of Holland. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the psychology of soccer, the mental aspects of soccer, and the mental qualities of players, which are often the determining factor in winning a soccer match against an equal opponent. Today you will see a fragment of a training session of one of Ajax players, or rather a former player of this club. He is almost 16 years old, and he played very successfully at Ajax until one moment when he lost confidence in himself to such an extent that he was expelled from the team due to psychological problems. Even in a soccer country like Holland, many coaches of clubs and even clubs in the top league state a remarkable fact. Psychology, and especially practical psychology, and soccer are still far from each other. And yet it seems that soccer practice and psychology are on the way to each other. The elemental qualities of soccer players are improving. Does a soccer coach know how to bring up a fighter character in his pets? Are there practical and psychological techniques to address these soccer players? And a host of other psychological challenges. These are all questions that every coach has to face a definite answer to these questions. Nor is there one in Holland. At the initial periods of technical training of a soccer player, with the improvement of the level of technical preparedness, the player gains more faith in himself, in his abilities. But in certain conditions the opposite can happen, which is what happened to the player you see on the screen. Individual technical skill to a large extent determines the psychology of any player. With the recovery of individual technical skill, starting in Holland, I begin to deal with literally from the first training sessions. Dutch soccer coach, acting within the existing and defined for all the system KMVV, the Queen of the Dutch Soccer Federation, never emphasizes and does not draw special attention to the beginning player to his mistakes. The congratulatory amount of comments from the coach is always encouraging, especially for children under the age of 12. To identify the preferences of each young soccer player can be used, and such a favorite in Holland exercises in a game situation. In this situation, in opposition to other players, better see the weaknesses and strengths of each. The task of every soccer coach is to motivate and also to convince each player that it is necessary to work on improving his own weaknesses. The coach must be able to find the means to influence each player, to find ways to change attitudes or to form the necessary new ones. Methods of collective training with individual approach to each player can determine the future success of the whole team. An interesting feature of the human psyche is the phenomenon of compensation, that is, the ability to replace some missing qualities and properties with others. Soccer coach can always try to use this phenomenon as a means of management and correction in the training process. A good soccer coach is always an psychologist, imperceptibly helping to overcome personal shortcomings of the player during the entire training process throughout the career. These are the thoughts that arise when working with players of different ages, including those from clubs such as Ajax. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye. Subscribe to the channel. Give us your likes.
See you again.
Bye.